Good evening, everybody. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Marquette Township Board. Today is Tuesday, June 21st, 2022, and everybody's anxious to say the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
And I want to say amen.
All right. Welcome to the longest day of the year, folks. From here, it's downhill. The days start getting shorter.
Should they start meeting?
We have an extra minute. We can go longer. Okay, roll call, Randy, please.
Trustee LaRue.
Here.
Trustee Winslow.
Present.
Trustee Everson.
Here.
Trustee Marks.
Present.
Treasurer Johnson.
Here.
Clerk Rattari is here, and Supervisor Durant.
Here.
Staff present is Manager Kangas, our attorney Roger Zappa. Superintendent of Public Works Lenny Bodinas is here, and Fire Chief Dan Shanahan is here. Committee member here is Tom Bronken. He's our library. He's on the Township Advisory Committee for Peter White Public Library.
Good, thank you. Any emails, Randy, from the public?
Nope.
Okay. All right, then we can go ahead with the public hearing. I will open the public hearing at 6:31 p.m. And we are having this for the Department of, DWRF public notice. Feel free, sure, come on up. There is a 55-page document plus some, so I did not, or we didn't, put it in the packet.
Yeah, so that's the actual project plan. We won't be going over 55 pages tonight. But, I'm Kevin Anker. I'm a project engineer with UB Engineers and Architects. I'm here tonight filling in with Matt Trudeau, going to be here. But Matt's been working with John and Lenny to put together this project plan for a water systems improvement project. And we're putting together this funding application to go to the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, which is a state of Michigan water system improvement projects funding program. It's facilitated through EAGLE. It's the typical program that Marquette Township would use for a project of this scale for funding. So part of the funding application requirements are that we have this public session. We open it up to public comment. And I also have 4 specific items that need to be stated during the public session. So I'll dive into those. It's a little dry, but item 1, a description of the drinking water quality needs and problems to be addressed by the proposed project and principal alternatives that were considered. We have 2 alternatives. 1, the Cox Pump House improvement and upgrades to the water SCADA system. Alternative 2 would be to do no action, just status quo. So the second item I need to address is a description of the recommended alternative, including its capital costs and a cost breakdown by project components. So the total proposed project costs are estimated at $750,000. The options for the project are either alternative 1, moving forward with outline improvements, or alternative 2, no action. So I don't know if you guys had this preliminary cost opinion table, but we're looking at water pumps, siding, roofing, some pump discharge line work, valves, meters, electrical, the system-wide SCADA upgrade, and then we also have some miscellaneous odds and ends, as well as 20% contingency, engineering, and administrative, for a total project cost estimate of $750,000. So the third item to address is a discussion of project financing and cost to users, including the proposed method of project financing and estimated monthly debt retirement, the proposed annual, quarterly, or monthly charge to the typical residential customer, and any special fees that will be assessed. So the proposed project is to be financed through the DWRF section of the State of Michigan Revolving Fund, or SRF. The project is estimated to cost $750,000 on a 30-year, 2.125% loan and monthly payment cost of around $3,000 per month, which spread out among The 1,860 equivalent dwelling units results in an approximate cost per single-family residential user of $2.50 a month. This cost does not include potential grant or principal forgiveness that may be provided by the state of Michigan. It also does not factor into the current contingency built into the Marquette Township water system. So this $2.50 that we're looking at per user cost is basically worst case. And we're anticipating, it's not sure, it's not settled on the state level, but there's a chance that we're looking at principal forgiveness or improvements with grant into the program, so it's not just loan only. But the state actually hasn't figured that out yet, so we're applying thinking that worst case, this is the cost to the user. Item 4, a description of the anticipated social and environmental impacts associated with the recommended alternative and the measures that will be taken to mitigate adverse impacts. No anticipated adverse social or environmental impacts for this project. Construction shall take place during normal hours. The improvements are specific to the existing water system infrastructure, and water service shall be maintained by the contractor throughout the construction project. So those are the 4 items that need to be stated as part of the application process, and we can now open it up to public comment.
Okay, does anybody wish to address the board on the public notice, or public hearing? Does anybody wish to address the board regarding the public hearing? Does anybody wish to address the board regarding the public hearing? Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing at 6:37 p.m. Thanks, Kevin. Getting that started. Okay, then we need approval of the consent agenda. Approval of regular meeting minutes of June 7th, 2022. We have bills payable in the amount of $222,669.08. No committee or other reports. We have Marquette County Solid Waste Management Authority 7/1/22 fee schedule, so that means an additional $2 a ton on tipping fees starting July 1st. And some information we did get that we were asked to share with the public on behavioral health mediation services programs, that in case somebody has the need. And we also have May 2022 financial statement.
I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And we need approval of the remainder of the agenda unless there are any changes.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And I'm not aware of any conflicts of interest with this agenda. Okay, so let's start with our library report. Mr. B?
Good evening. I attended the June 13th meeting of the Peter White Public Library Board of Trustees, and they had a special presentation that night to recognize Margie Licht-Mallow. She's been the head of the Friends of the Library for the past 5 years, and through that time they've made some great progress, provided tens of thousands of dollars to the library. And they also moved their, I guess it was their semi-annual book sales to actually having a bookstore within the library. And that's made a huge impact on their finances. So they gave her a special presentation. She's not going anywhere. She's just stepping down from that position, and she's staying with the Friends. There was an IT presentation by Bruce McDonald, which I won't go into in detail, but there is a place now for you to self-check-out materials at the library. They have 3 kiosks for that. And they're looking at, the consortium of libraries in the UP are looking at getting a new circulation system in place. The one they have now, and most of them use, was 2005 issue and hasn't really been improved much since then. And so it's kind of on its last legs. They know they're going to have to do it soon. So they're looking to do it with the other libraries for cost savings. The financial report focused on the increase of cost of utilities. They've doubled in the past year for the library. decreased penal fines, the loss of tax base with the closing of the power plant. Of course, the dark store situation is ongoing. They understand that it's only temporary, but also the brownfield developments have also stopped some of the payment that's coming in. And they know that's temporary, and they'll get the money for that. But they said it's probably the roughest year they have going into budget season for many years here. So it's going to be, she said, the only thing good I can say is we're in better shape than the city. So. The talks with the Marquette Genealogic Society continue. No real progress has been made, but they know they have to come to an agreement at some point. And lastly, material selection policy was tightened up even slightly more. Only people that are in the service area of the library now will be able to object to something in the library. They didn't want people coming from other places and objecting to books in the library. They just wanted to be local if there is an objection. So that was that meeting. And then 2 hours ago, I was in another meeting that was the Peter White Public Board Strategy Plan kickoff. And it was the board members and any TAC members that wanted to attend, and there were 5 of us, I think, from TAC that attended. And we were able to provide input right alongside the board members, which was good. So beginning in April, and Paul Marin was involved in this, they selected a consultant. They settled on a person from Illinois. She's been up here a few times, and she's a librarian herself and does strategic planning. And she had helped them develop the survey. I don't know if you've taken the survey yet, but it's out there. It'll be out there for another week. They're getting fairly good response, but I would urge anybody here to take that survey. Just go out to the Peter White Public Library. It's right on the front page. Or tell your neighbors to take it as well, so you can get some input into that. She's also had focus groups, and she's been meeting with staff. Tonight's session was really the kickoff for the board. I've been through these strategic planning things more times than I care to admit, and usually they're not very good, to tell you the truth. But this one, it all depends upon the facilitator, and I think they picked a good one. She listened well, she asked good questions, and I think she got quite a bit of input from people. They will combine the efforts of that survey, the focus groups, any other input they get from the board or other people, and then they can put it into a plan, and that should come out, I think it's, let's see if I got it right here. I don't know if did you get this document? It's there. So I'll give it to you afterwards, so if you're interested. But they're gonna have a plan document. I'm sorry, they're gonna have a planning team meeting in September. They're gonna kind of do this planning through the summer, have a team meeting then, a board retreat and staff retreat take place in October. They're going then to prepare the plan document, present it to the board in end of November, beginning of December, and should have this strategic plan for the next 3 years done by the end of the year and move into it next year. So yeah, I'll leave this for you. You can kind of see what we went through. It was called a SOAR analysis. I don't know if you've been through SWOT analysis. It's like that. Only when they asked her what was the difference between the two, she said, well, SWOT analysis, it's more negative because they have weaknesses and threats in it. SOAR has got terms like, I think weaknesses turned into opportunities, that's the O. A was aspirations and results, so it's a little bit more positive. She kind of laughed about that, even though she said it. That's my report. Anybody got any questions?
No, Tom, I did get the minutes tonight of the May meeting.
You didn't? Oh, wait, there was a meeting that wasn't held.
Okay. Well, I got minutes of one meeting, so. I'll
In
put it
June?
In June.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
put it
the
in
May
next
meeting, they didn't
pack.
have a quorum, and that's why they canceled it.
Yeah, I'll put it in the next packet that
Okay.
I
Okay.
got.
Sorry about that. I should have let you know, but,
That's okay. I got it anyway.
okay.
Any questions? No, Tom? Okay, thanks, that was great. It's great to know what's going on and to tell the public what's going on. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Hopefully people have tuned in and fill out this.
Yeah.
No, we're good.
Okay, staff reports, fire department. Chief Dan.
I'll be right back. I gotta go.
Good evening, and I will be brief. And there hasn't been a lot going on really too much the last couple of months. Our run volume is up a little bit, about 13%. Runs of note, I guess, would be the brush fires, and I will let everybody know the mosquitoes are out in the woods. They happen to be in the evening on both of them, and they ate us up. We had 7 EMS assists that were out of the township, and we did assist Marquette City on a structure fire earlier in the month of May. Membership's remaining pretty steady at 33. Membership did donate to the Jordan DeMay Scholarship Fund, and they participated in the Iron Range Roll. Grants, we're still waiting to hear. As you're aware, we have the AFG for the ambulance. We have a micro AFG for a fit tester. And we got the power plan for the backup cameras. And we're just waiting to hear on all of those. A little bit of bad news with the trucks lately. I think our budget's we're fine, but you will see some bigger expenses there this, probably next month. 2178, our tanker, 2005 tanker. We've had some air leak issues and our power steering failed on us. And we had the power steering box replaced. 2174, our ladder truck, which is a 1994. We had a hydraulic leak in the boom. That's been repaired also. The good news is our brand new 2176 pickup is in service. A little more bad news, I did speak with the ambulance rep today. Price increase so far has gone up 20% from when we applied for the grant last year. So, just an FYI. A few more things about the membership. Josh Fensky, firefighter Josh Fensky did pass the UPHS EMT B class. He's waiting to take the National Registry exam. Due to staffing, he's not sure when he'll be able to take that with the state. Again, firefighters Kelsey Hookey and Trevor Koski did pass their state class, and they passed their practical exam with the state firefighter for firefighter 1, firefighter 2, and they took their test on June 3rd, and they're hoping to hear again within a couple weeks if they passed the written exam or not. Again, that's the delay they say is due to staffing at the state of Michigan. Jack Sides, our intern, graduated from Marquette High School, and he did receive the MTFD Membership Scholarship Fund. And in the beginning of May, and I might have brought this up earlier, but with Lenny's assistance, we did the ISO inspection with the township, and that went pretty well. And with Lenny's help, obviously, too. Does anybody have any questions on anything?
Yeah, so all of the testing that's been done, what is that for?
That's
Toward promotions, EMS, what is it?
No, one is for EMS, Josh Fensky. He passed the class, the state class, certified class, but now he has to take a National Registry exam. Or waiting, a state employee has to proctor it, even for the written exam, and I think might have one. He passed the class, I believe he was in May, early May, and he has a scheduled date for the National Registry exam in Escanaba. I believe it's the end of this month or the beginning of July. And then the firefighter 1, firefighter 2, they passed the practical exam, but the written exam will not be graded. They're hoping in the next couple of weeks due to staffing. I know that's hard. You take a test and not get a score for that long. It's already been 2 weeks, maybe 2 more weeks before they get it.
You also had a call for an overdose on gummies, I heard. Is that?
That happens every once in a while. Yeah, that does.
Kinda
More than
different
one.
here.
It does. Yep. Yeah. I know. Accidents are down. That's a good thing. They are, which is.
And our trucks are in better shape than the city.
We're in very good shape. We are. I just want to highlight, just to let you know, our expenses will be up. I mean, we're still within our budget. We're good, but you're going to see, whoa, there's some bigger expenses coming in this month or next month by the time you see them. Just an FYI.
You saw increase on that new truck.
Yeah.
Did we pay that up front?
Now, that was for, that we're good on. We've saved already this, well, we haven't saved, that's a nice way of putting it, but we haven't saved, but that truck we did pay for up front. That was the fire truck, and we have saved already, I believe it's close to $110,000 with price increases since January, when did we pay for it? January 28th or something like that? We've already saved $110,000 with the price increases. But we're guaranteed at that price. We already paid for it, as you know.
Which one are you talking about now?
Ambulance.
The ambulance, the one we applied for a
Okay.
grant with the AFG, and if we don't, we're hoping to use some ARPA money.
Okay.
But I just wanted to give you a heads up. I just talked to him today, it went up 20% since last August.
Linda?
So I just want to share for the people who listen to this meeting and the community that the 2 scholarships that the chief is talking about are through the Marquette Area Public Schools Education Foundation, and that the scholarship that Jack Sides received is from our Township Fire Department Membership Committee. So they actually donated the money to the foundation, and then that money earns interest, and that's where that scholarship comes from. So kudos to our membership for doing that. And then Jordan DeMay's family did set up a scholarship fund in the same organization. Jordan's dad was part of our fire department at one point. So kudos to you guys for, supporting our community, our students.
Thank you for explaining that well, too, you know, We did get the thank yous, too. We do get thank yous from everybody, and those don't recognize it, but yes. Yeah, thank you.
Anything else for the chief? Okay. Thanks, Dan,
All right,
for
have a good
coming
night.
in, appreciate it. Public Works. Lenny's been busy.
So for wastewater, earlier this month, we did get a call for a sanitary sewer overflow on the highway by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. It was actually on a Sunday, and our crew was actually able to get together pretty fast and get out there and get control of it. So they did a really good job on a Sunday morning. Everybody got out there and got it fixed. When they got there, they got everything controlled. They found out that it was actually a chunk of blacktop that was jamming up the pipe. So we think that might have been from the prior road project. Some stuff got down in there. They were able to get it open and get everything flowing. We contacted Eagle. We did all the proper notifications with the health department, with Eagle and the paper. Put down lime, did some cleanup there, so we should be good to go. One thing we might have to look at later on this summer is scheduling Tunnel Vision or somebody else or whoever can do it to come up and actually clean that whole line. They have bigger equipment than we have, and they can do it much better and more efficiently than we can. But it's probably something that we want to take care of, especially this is the second time this has happened in the last couple months. And we think the first time was also blacktop down in there. So those things are kind of hard to plan for. When they get jammed up, and it creates a mess really fast. And we don't want people driving through that and tracking it everywhere. But we were able to get it cleaned up in pretty fast. We did receive one newer sewer construction permit, and we submitted that to the Eagle. That was for Heritage Silos. We're also expecting another permit application for a separate project to come in fairly soon. So that's good. I mean, that's where construction's going, and we're getting some new sewer and water lines out there, and that's always good that we're growing. Our Bancroft lift station has had numerous electrical and pump alarms over the last month. Actually getting to the point where it started driving people nuts. So we were kind of been out there scratching our heads trying to figure out what was going on. We kind of determined with our instrumentation and control people that it's actually a bad part in the SCADA. It's actually reading the wrong voltage, so what it would do is actually shut the pump down. So it would say like one leg had one voltage, another one had another voltage, and it would kind of temporarily shut it down, then it would come back. So it started kind of turning into a nuisance alarm type issue. We think we have it under control now, but this is a kind of another reason if we do go forward with the SCADA project to try to get somebody that's more local, because again, we're working through FaceTime and on the phone and all this stuff with somebody in Detroit trying to diagnose problems and trying to figure out. We were able to kind of work with them and get it figured out. But yeah, we definitely eventually in the future we got to get somebody more local, because we will get to situations where we can't do it over FaceTime or over the telephone, so. But we were able to get this kind of squared away for now, and hopefully we won't be getting called out at all hours in the night here. For water, we've been busy performing our water service line survey, so you might have seen the big vacuum cleaner out there working. So far, they've got 20 done, and that's quite a bit, because they take kind of a long time. We were thinking about 3 a day we were gonna get, and it could slow down to 1 or 2 a day, depending on, what the soil conditions and stuff are. And we're trying to break that up with other things during the week, so we don't bore our guys with just sucking dirt out of the ground all day long. So we'll do some sewer cleaning one day, and then we'll go do service lines, and we'll do something else. But we are making progress with that, and we anticipate being done plenty in time with the deadline that's set forth by the state. So far, everything's looked really good. Everything's copper. Our biggest problem is getting a good picture of the service line. So we have a real deep hole that's only about, I don't know, however big, and it's dark down there, so we're trying to come up with ways to get a camera down there where we can see it with our eyes what it is, but we can't get a good picture of it, and that's part of the documentation we need for Eagle. So if that's our biggest problem with that, we can figure that out. We have also, going back to the water main construction projects, Heritage Silos is ongoing, so we've had somebody out there doing an inspection every day while the construction is going on. Everything is moving along good there, and hopefully we'll be able to make a water tie-in by next week with that. Water operator Rob, he's in the midst of doing a lot of Eagle mandated water samples, so you might see him running around picking up bottles off of people's porches. That's something that we have to do yearly, and that's mandated by Eagle. So far, everything looks good, and usually it always turns out good. We have great water quality here, and we don't expect any difference in the future. Our building and grounds, of course, the new handicap doors have been installed here. We're waiting for an electrician to come and actually wire them up. I think we're hoping by next week that's going to happen. The storm drain, I know Manager Kangas also has in his report, that was repaired out by the employee entrance, so we got that all squared away, and it seems to be, it rained a couple times and the water's flowing into the storm drain, so it's working, so that's good. We've also had some graffiti problems at Lions Field, so we've been keeping up on that. A lot of people have been drawing all kinds of things all over the place, so as soon as we find that, we try to get it erased. We're thinking of trying to put some of the anti-graffiti paint that we put on the tunnel in some areas there. Andy's gonna look into that, and once we get that on there, it's hard for graffiti to stick to it, but there's been really a rash of graffiti all over the place, and we're trying to keep up on that, and as soon as we see it, we're getting it off, so it's not very nice stuff for kids to be looking at. We've also, of course, we talked about this a little bit earlier, we're still waiting on the lawnmower, so the new anticipated date in getting the lawnmower now is July the 11th, and we hope to have it by then, so we still have our lawnmower that we had before with the riding lawnmower, but it's not very efficient and kind of takes a long time, and we want to get that working out on Lions Field and of course on the corridor, doing the cuttings there. It's going to make it a lot easier and a lot faster. So that's what I have.
Questions? Randy?
We have cameras at Lions Field.
They are at the ice rink, so they're in that building. We have talked about trying to get some over closer to the.
Well, I can tell you, we put new ones in this building and they're much clearer than the other ones were.
Yeah.
So I would, and the cameras are fairly cheap these days, so
Yeah.
I would probably recommend putting some cameras over by the ball field.
We're looking into that. We got to know if we can shoot the internet that far with like a wireless camera, which we should be able to. So yeah, we're definitely going to look into that.
Okay. Pete?
What kind of land, what are they writing on there, Lenny? Here, can you say it on the air?
No.
What are they writing on it? Are you
Use your
allowed to say it?
imagination. You probably can.
Oh, I know,
I can't say it. Just not very nice things.
yeah, okay.
Is it
I know
paint
that.
or what?
Markers. They've scratched some stuff into some of the some things there too. So we've been on it pretty fast. But of course, we had that big one out in the tunnel. We got that taken care of with the anti-graffiti paint, and now we're getting it over there. But we're on it. As soon as we see it, we're getting it cleaned up almost immediately. But it's something that we still want to get control of.
We had, at St. Peter's Church this Sunday, had somebody writing on the sidewalk in front of the church. So I just wonder what kind of language is in there, and so,
Their pictures,
yeah. And
pictures and words.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, there's no excuse for it. I mean,
My comment to him, to the maintenance man, I said, well, just should've went out and told me, you got 2 more blocks, you end up in the hospital where you belong. You know?
One thing that's really important with graffiti is as long as you get on it right away. If you don't get on it right away, it starts multiplying very fast. So, I mean, usually we see it like probably the day after, or hours after it's done, and we're able to get there and get it.
So it's over on the old part.
On the pavilion, we had some stuff in there, and then some stuff in the bathroom over there.
Also, it's, on your cameras, do you think in the future you should upgrade some of your cameras so it's,
The ones at the ice rink warming building are pretty good.
I mean for your sewer, excuse me, for your sewer lines?
Oh, for the sewer lines, we've actually talked about that. Right now, it's something that we could use, but it's pretty expensive for what we would need. But it's definitely something that we might want to look at getting in the future, especially as we grow more and we have to start doing more maintenance. It really does help getting down there and actually seeing what we're dealing with down in the sewer. It's not very easy to stick number one, you don't want to go down the manhole and you can't really stick your head down there and look down the pipe, so.
I just think it's the board members, if they're going for a ride or just ride by I always try to ride by there and I haven't seen it, but I've noticed some of the doors are open at night, you know.
Well, the pavilion is open, but the warming shack, we have that shut right now, just because we had vandalism in the past. It's, in the pavilion part of it, of course, it's used at night for the baseball games and stuff like that, and those are more the stainless steel toilets and sinks in there, so those are pretty sturdy, versus other ones are in the warming shack are a little bit more like a regular bathroom, porcelain and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I guess we'll have to petition the government to not allow markers to be sold.
Well, and I mean, another problem is we actually have caught people and know who they are, but nothing, we turn it in and nothing happens with it.
They're not kids either.
Yeah, no, some of them are. Some of them are kids, some of them are not.
Yeah, the one at the church is an older guy, so.
They need a job.
Why would nothing be done?
We turn it into our deputy, he files the paperwork, and where it goes from there, I don't know.
They put a restraining order that they're not allowed to go by there again and something like that.
We had one gentleman there that was actually sleeping in the ice rink and harassing people. I don't know, he was sleeping there. I mean, we were able to tell him, please don't, have the officer tell him don't come back. But as far as when you get the graffiti, we do report it, we do file a report and stuff with it, and then once it gets higher up, I don't know what happens.
It's crazy.
I was gonna say, Lenny, if you can't get the good cameras, just buy a couple trail cams and put them over there with the cards, because I know a lot of people at camps don't have internet, and that's what they use at camps with no internet, is just buy those trail cams
Yep.
with the cards, and as soon as you're just gotta take the card out and look at it, that's all.
Well, we're thinking too, maybe if we get like a repeater type of thing at the warming facility, that might be, it's a straight line and line of sight, so I mean, that might work too. Just to get some other different vantage points and stuff to see what's going on.
Like a couple trail cams up, maybe that'll help.
Yep, we can do that. Maybe we'll catch some deer out there too eating
Yeah.
that.
Well, that's all right, keep them off the roads. What else, anything?
They keep sleeping in the ice rink, throw a skunk inside there and shut the door.
We'll go get the deer off the highway and bring it there.
There you go.
Ooh.
Okay, thanks, Lenny.
Yep.
Appreciate it. What can you share?
Well, no new legal crises in the last month since I gave the last report. It's been fairly busy. I reviewed the library millage ballot language, and there was an issue on what the correct Headley rollback amount should be for that. I've done some work in conjunction with the MNRTF grant that's underway. In terms of what comes next and what order things have to be done without jeopardizing eligibility for the grant. We've got one new tax tribunal appeal that just came in, and we had a question on whether any additional action should be undertaken with regard to a correction of the minutes in I believe it was a November 2020 meeting, and the consensus there was the minutes were amended and nothing further needs to be done. And we finalized a stormwater management agreement plan and the associated easements on a development over on Commerce here fairly recently. And that pretty much summarizes what I could think of at least. Probably I'm missing something, but
How about Lost Creek? Have we heard anything from them?
they haven't responded to our last inquiry.
Do
or
we have a
threat.
deadline or anything on it?
We gave them one, and that's come and gone, so now the next measure will be to basically consider filing suit. And I would not do that, of course, without presenting it to the board, but it may be a situation that we should put together a draft of what that might look like, and some estimates and so forth, and move it along to advance it.
Do you want a motion on that? Do you want consensus to?
I don't think
Hear
we
what the
need it
board
just
says?
yet. I can go ahead and just start that, and then we would need a motion once you have something a little more concrete in front of you.
Any questions for Roger?
That was my question for him. We can do it.
Yeah, I think we have a June 1st deadline, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, thanks. Community linkage. We had a joint meeting with the Township Business Association today. Typically, that means they have an agenda of questions for us because we're the ones doing stuff, you know. Everybody was almost there. So we told them about the plantings that we're kind of working on, and John can elaborate on that in the corridor. We're doing a pilot. They asked about the master plan, which has been done a couple years ago, but you know how that's changed, and our planning and zoning administrator did update them on that. There wasn't really any new developments in the business side to update them on. They were looking for an update on the park project that we were kind of trying to do over on Commerce, well, Venture. We don't have an update on that. They asked how Lions Field was going. Good thing they're not here tonight to hear all this. And roundabout signage, they have some money set aside that they're willing to contribute for signage. But planning's gonna get back to them on that. They asked about the Forestville project. John can elaborate on that if you want. And then they're aware that stuff is going on in the city with the Heartwood property. Some of the 2,000+ acres that they have, that the city bought in Heartwood, some of it is in the township, Marquette Township. So we did talk about that a little bit, and what they're developing, what the city's developing there. We didn't really have any questions for them. We just kind of gave them an update. We do have 2 liaisons to the Business Association. The treasurer, by default, is a member that attends their meetings, and then the planner or the planning and zoning administrator does also attend. They usually meet at lunch every month, and then we meet with them 2 or 3 times a year in a joint session. You want to add anything, John? No? Okay. Anything else anybody wants to add? Okay. Speaking of meetings, we did have, I was going through my notes, and the board last year did motion to have a joint meeting with our planning commission. We did it once a couple years ago, and we didn't do it this year. So they're gonna be kind of busy with being short 1 employee for a little bit. And I was kind of thinking that the best thing to do would maybe be to meet like before their meeting some night on a Wednesday, rather than always asking them to come to us. That might be a little bit easier for them. It's just a thought. And if maybe we could suggest a date and see what they think.
When do they meet? I don't,
The 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of the month.
At 7.
Yeah, it's a little bit later, so we could maybe meet with them at 6.
I can bring it to them, or you can bring it to the
Yeah, I
chairperson.
thought if we could get kind of a, July, August, kind of just give them a ballpark and see. They did cancel their last meeting because of not having some of the agenda items ready to go. You know, planning season, they're kind of doing public hearings and site plan reviews and stuff, so they have to go with whatever they get. What do you think?
Second meeting in August, maybe?
That'll be right before the budget too, so that might be a good time.
Your second meeting in August. Bring that to them, see if that'd be okay.
That'll be the 24th then?
4th of August? Like, maybe even
It's-
5:30? Just in case we get, I think our last meeting was almost 2 hours.
Yeah, 5:30 would be fine.
That way we won't hold them up. And if that doesn't work, you know, we can come up with something else.
24th of August?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a Wednesday.
I wouldn't mark it down till we ask them.
It's in pencil.
Oh, okay.
Linda can ask them, and then we have to put it on our next meeting agenda
Yeah.
Yeah.
for finalizing.
Okay, we'll leave that for tentatively and see how that goes. I heard about a community foundation grant opportunity for $1,000 the week before Memorial Weekend. And it was due in 2 days. So, of course, we were off Monday, and John gave it to Jason, and he jumped on it and filled it. The application was not really difficult. It was just 4 pages, like 4 questions. It was not like, you know, a $1 million grant application, so that was a saving grace. But we got the email this week that we were awarded $1,000. The grant was up to $1,000, and we got the $1,000. So this is the Community Foundation of Marquette County, through Marquette County. And the application was for the seed purchase for the pilot program that we're gonna do in the corridor, hopefully to get the seeds ordered this year. So we are, I guess, required to announce that and promote it and advertise it, and then send those documentations to county so that they're aware that we are following their criteria. There was a page of different items that we need to do and agree to before we sign the document. So I'm kind of excited. I emailed Elise today at the Conservation
help.
District. The DDA agreed to pay half of the cost, or $500. I think at the time
It was
like
half the cost of the
$1,100.
seed was the final motion they made.
Yeah,
But keep in mind, there's labor and equipment costs too,
Yes.
so.
yeah. So if we got
Or advertising it, put it on our back of our water bill, then everyone knows what's going on. Doesn't have to be much, a couple paragraphs and that's it,
Yeah,
and you get the advertising out.
yeah, then we can send them a copy
read
of that
it,
too. So that's pretty exciting to just get a one-day grant and get it. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, it was seizing a moment of opportunity for a project that was already in our master plan, going back to the climate adaptation sessions we had a while back. It was right around the time I was just getting here, actually. It started before I came and finished up after I arrived, but, so it all worked together great, and the application went through the county planning department, but it's the community foundation that's funding it. And we happened to have the perfect project at the right time. And Eagle Eyes to catch the mini grant form, that was Lynn, when it came out on a Friday and was due the following Tuesday, so.
4 o'clock or something.
I think we deserve credit for being aware of things and taking advantage of them and having staff that could take advantage. I think it was a good job by everybody, all the way around. $1,000 will help.
Well, if that's $1,000 we don't have to take out of some other part of our budget that
Right.
can be used for something else important to the township and taxpayers.
So that was exciting to share. I'm not sure if it's over or not, but the city was meeting tonight, Marquette City, on their budget. You're probably aware that they are gonna ask for 2.76 or so mills. That's what they're discussing, and the bills go out July 1st, so I wish we could have listened. Randy and I had it on for just a minute, but you really couldn't hear much. So they're saying their average home has a value of $160,000, and it's just gonna cost them $200 more a year, $211. So taxable value of $80,000, I don't know, that doesn't seem right to me, but I think it's gonna cost a little bit more, but anyway, that's what they're saying.
And it's due, the bill will be due on
July 1st.
July 1st. So it's not that far away.
Can't imagine that, so.
Which means they're in the process of writing their tax bills right now, and they've gotta put that on their tax bills at this point in time. So after the meeting tonight, they're gonna have to move quickly to get this all taken care of.
I'm sure they were well aware.
Yeah, this was a special meeting tonight.
And I thought it was for 80,000. A house for 80,000 would be 200.
Taxable value of 80. Yeah.
And they're saying that's the average cost of a home in the city of Marquette?
Awfully low.
There must be a lot of long-term residents.
Makes good print in the paper. They just didn't want to scare you.
A lot of those property values are capped, right?
Because they're long-term residents.
But anyway, I know some of you don't get the paper, so I wanted to make sure you were aware of that. Okay. On to our DWRF resolution. You want to come back up? We want to read this, or?
We do have to read it.
Okay, because it's kind of like what Kevin had to do. You want to read it, or?
Randy can read it.
Yeah, so well, it'll be in the minutes also, so, but if we have to read it. So it's the resolution adopting a final project plan for water system improvements and designating an authorized project representative. So whereas Marquette Township recognizes the need to make improvements to existing water treatment and distribution system, and whereas Marquette Township authorized UP engineers and architects to prepare a project plan which recommends the construction of Cox Pump House improvements and upgrades to the water SCADA system. And whereas the project plan was presented at a public hearing on June 21st, 2022, and all public comments have been considered and addressed. Now therefore be resolved that Marquette Township formally adopts said project plan and agrees to implement the selected alternative, which is alternative number 1. And be it further resolved that the township manager position currently held by John Kangas is designated as the authorized representative for all activities associated with the project referenced above, including the submittal of the project plan as a final step in applying to the state of, the first step in applying to the state of Michigan for a revolving loan fund to assist in implementation of the selected alternative. And I'll make a motion for that resolution.
I'll second it.
Comments?
So I have a question, because I'm thinking that as a resident out there, are we adopting this resolution saying that we're going to do this, or that this is a proposal?
There's no commitment in this. This is just.
That's what we need to say to our residents. There's no commitment that we're going to do this, but we need to do this to apply for the grant. Okay, so just so people don't think we're adding $2.50 to their monthly bill starting next month.
Right.
That's not the case.
That's what I wanted to stress.
Yeah.
That the state hasn't even figured out their funding yet.
Right, the state. Okay, do you want to say that in the mic? Because I can tell you that someone's going to call me.
So yeah, this is Kevin Anker with UP Engineers Architects. Just wanted to comment that the potential $2.50 rate increase would be what we are looking at as a worst case scenario. And by adopting this resolution, it doesn't even mean that we have to accept the Eagle funding or move forward with this project.
But Lenny did say that this stuff needs to be done, so at some point.
Yes, in
we're gonna have
in
to-
order to apply for this funding, we have to move forward with this project
Okay.
and resolution.
John?
I think now is the appropriate time to remind everybody, the project needs to happen. We're applying for the funding now because of all of the infrastructure money that's out there coming from Washington. Yes, it's still taxpayer money. No, we're not asking local taxpayers, ratepayers in this case, because it's an enterprise fund. We're not asking ratepayers for more money at this time. The $2.50 is if nothing works in our favor and we have to go with a full loan to complete this project. If that's our only option from the state, we come back to you with other options internally, meaning do we have enough money to fund this ourselves? It's possible, but we want to try to get other funding to help us with this critical upgrade of the Cox Pump House because we know we want to use water from the city water treatment plant for more of our system long-term. Because the well system we have will only provide so much water. And at some point, we won't be able to expand that anymore. In fact, we'll have to take less of our distribution system off of the well system. So this is good, solid planning by Lenny and his department and our consultants. Hopefully, we'll get a project funded where it's complete loan forgiveness or 100% grant. We don't know how we're gonna rank either. You may recall there's extra points if you have lead service lines. What did Lenny say earlier? We've done 20 and we have none. We kind of felt all along that we don't have any. But if we did have them, we'd get more points on this application. So there's little things out there that kind of hurt you. We'll see until we know how they're going to actually score these applications. It's anyone's guess what's gonna happen.
Lenny did a great job of filling it out, or whoever helped you, or, I mean, it was picky stuff. No.
This was another case too, where
UPA
we were
too.
notified on a Thursday. We had to scramble to get these notices of intent to apply in order to get in on this round. In fact, the state has added a new round of funding this November deadline because of all this money. They don't normally do 2 rounds in the same year. You pretty much have was it an April deadline? Something like that? And then you have to wait until the next year. They're doing the next round early in order to get more projects into the hopper to hopefully fund. I'm hoping if we got in early this first time, we're gonna get funded, or if not, maybe in the second round, because we automatically move into the second round. We'll see. It needs to be done. If you saw the inside of that Cox Pump House and then compared it to Northwoods or Chapel Ridge, you wouldn't have to be very technically sound on water systems to understand why this one is due.
We don't want to be paying 2022 electric rates with 1975 pumps. We want 2022 pumps paying for 2022 electric rates. That's a real big thing.
The cost to kick on one of those pumps is very expensive because it's all the juice right now. There's no variable frequency drives, there's no soft starts. That's where the big costs come in. And then when your monthly rate or usage goes above a certain level, then you get kicked into the higher bracket. So I forget what the terminology is on the account type, but
Demand
demand charge, correct. we don't need demand charges either, especially if it's going to be our long-term plan, so, fingers crossed.
Just good planning, that's all.
Does that answer your question, Linda?
Well, right, it answers my question, but it was more a question for the people who are listening to this, because they need that information
Yeah, so
to decide to come.
the strategic planning that we put ourselves into this is great, like you were saying, because Eagle's actually having a meeting to brief all communities about this that hasn't happened yet, really, so we're about.
It's going to be in this building, by the way. We agreed to host it.
Can the public come then too, or is that just for?
Well, it's invitees for the municipalities and
That's
utilities.
to inform everyone of this, that we're already getting involved.
Ernie?
So, and what I'm hearing, and actually I'm reading through this, is that if the funding is not available through the state or wherever, and then from what our manager said, we will look to see if we have funds available to do it in-house. But from what I can read is that we're to the point where we have to move forward on this, one way or another, and that. Which means if we have to go out and get dollars, we're talking about bonding and everything else, which takes time to do everything in that. And I think Roger knows that. We can't, it isn't just flipping a switch. There's a lot to do it when we go out for bonding and that too. So the sooner we know, the sooner off we can move forward on this. We'd be very lucky if we have to go ourselves with bonding, that we'd make it available for next year. And that it would be very difficult, I think, in that. So the sooner we can get it in the hopper, the sooner we know where we're at.
As it is, if we follow this process and get funded right away, we still may not be able to build it next year just based on supply chain. We know that transformers that BLP needs for new developments are 2 years out. 2 years out for a transformer for a new development. What's that gonna do on a pump with a VFD, all the controls? And anytime you're talking controls, you're getting into this higher end electronic component stuff. Why do we have a vehicle shortage? It's the computer chips, right? So, who knows? We could still be two years out, even if we get funded this year. We don't know.
Okay, anything else?
Nope.
All right, go ahead, Randy.
Okay, it's a roll call, so Clerk Rattari is yes. Trustee LaRue?
Yes.
Trustee Winslow?
Yes.
Trustee Everson?
Yes.
Trustee Marks?
Yes.
Treasurer Johnson?
Yes.
And Supervisor Durant.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. Another resolution for the library millage and ballot language for the November election. Thanks for coming, Kevin. Appreciate it. Yep. Okay, you want to read this one?
I'm not gonna read it, but the background is every 2 years, the township board has agreed per the contract with the library to put the millage question on the ballot for the residents to vote on, and that's typically in November. So my deadline to put this on the November ballot is sometime in August, so I'm early, so I don't forget. And I guess the millage, it's a renewal, and the millage was rolled back again this time. It was around, what was the last one? About
9.6 or something.
Point.
2, wasn't it?
Yeah, .92, the last time we did this in 2020. It's been rolled back to .8880. And it will generate $255,772.60 if approved. And that's for the tax years 2022 and 2023 inclusive. And that's what me and the attorney were going back on to make sure we had the correct language moving forward. So we can allow this to go onto the ballot if the board approves it and let the residents vote on it. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution and ballot language proposal.
Support.
Okay, motion and support. Questions, comments? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Clerk Rattari is yes. Treasurer Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee LaRue?
Yes.
Trustee Winslow?
Yes.
Trustee Everson?
No.
Trustee Marks?
No.
Treasurer Johnson?
Yes. Yes,
Excuse-
again.
Yeah, and Supervisor Durant.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries 5-2. So I will get this to the county clerk in the next few days. It's early. And this will be on the November ballot for the residents to vote on.
Next up, the legislature is again hammering everybody about sand and gravel mining. You've seen this discussion before. We did a letter 2020 opposing this. MTA has come out with an alternative to help townships retain their local control. They're asking, today's Tuesday, there was a hearing, they started, I think, Thursday or Friday of last week already. So if we want to put our 2 cents in, it's gonna have to go out like tomorrow to be emailed. And I did include the letter that we sent to Senators Stabenow and Peters a couple years ago. We could send the same letter again and redate it, or create a whole new letter, but I am recommending that we add a few more people to it. I think it needs to go to, I was gonna say Manchin, what's his name? Markkinen, and McBroom and Kembenzi, besides the senators. I mean, Kembenzi's almost finished, but still. This is the 55 pages of Senate Bill 429, and it says right in here, you know, the township will have no control over, I think we can have control over noise, because those decibels are established. 7 o'clock, I should have circled it in here, 7 o'clock a.m. until 8 p.m., I believe, Monday through Friday. I think it just has to be by community. The state should be telling every community what they have to have done. That's just my 2 cents.
So,
We have a short time to do this, so I would move that the supervisor repeat the letter that was sent previously, adding additional people to communicate our position. Is that fair enough?
I'll support that.
Linda?
so is this going to the federal government or the state government?
This is, yeah, well, it's our state representatives,
So why are we sending it to Debbie Stabenow and Gary Peters?
because that's who MTA suggested at the last meeting, or the last in 2020, that they go to them.
To the federal government?
Yep.
Because
That's why I'm saying we need to put our local people in there now.
right, because they're the ones voting on this, not these 2 people. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why we're sending it to them.
They're,
We don't have to,
I mean, I don't know why, if they're even gonna,
last time around.
Pardon me?
they asked for information from the local government to go to the state government, people that were involved, and that's what our senators were interested in hearing from them, what was going on in the local community. So they were looking for that to funnel through.
Which is why it's been 2
Yeah.
years and it's still hanging in there.
Right.
And that's good, because nobody's made a decision yet.
yeah, I guess I would certainly want to send it to our Michigan people.
I'm sure that, pardon me for interrupting, I'm sure that when these letters get sent to our local, not to our local, to
our
our state
state.
officials. They will repeat that information to our senators.
Yeah, we can just send them to the, send
Okay.
them to the, our
Yeah,
locals.
I'm just curious why MTA would recommend that, because
Yeah,
that's,
that's a good explanation, John.
yeah, anyways, okay, I'll talk, maybe I'll see Sarah and ask her how this works. Okay,
Questions, comments on the motion?
When you send it to our local, copy of both senators. And that way, they know what's going on.
Yeah, we could address it to the three and then,
And copy our senators.
because like the letter says, it's just about local control.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. We need to be able to protect our residents. Because what's happening in Traverse City or Detroit or the Sioux, if they're mining in any of those places, is gonna be different than here.
yeah, I mean, I would guess I would send it to the House of Representative people too, is that Jack?
Yeah, in fact, I was gonna put Bergman on there and I thought, well,
Yeah, if you're sending
He
it to the
likes to know.
senators, you certainly want to include all the voting.
yeah.
But you guys know best and certainly we should do it. The MTA, we actually belong to that group, so
They're the ones asking for the help.
be interesting to see.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay. Lenny's up again. Declare the 2005 Chevrolet Colorado surplus. We know this was coming.
Lenny must have done something wrong to end up this late on the agenda. That'd be my fault for not catching it last week. Sorry, Lenny.
Oh, that's fine.
It wasn't too far after all the, resolution
So,
stuff.
oh, sorry.
I thought we
Okay.
did.
We've taken possession of our two new trucks. I don't know if you've seen them out there. We've got the stickers on them, so you'll see, two nice trucks with new stickers on, riding around out there. As part of that, we are in the process of rotating out, some of our older vehicles. And the first one that we want to rotate out is a 2005 Chevy Colorado. And actually, it's out there in the parking lot right now, so.
That the red one?
That's the red one out there. It's in pretty good shape for being 2005 as far as the body and stuff. We did have an issue with it, but we do have a guy in staff that's pretty savvy with that kind of stuff, and it was a sensor. So he was able to kind of get it up and running, and it runs good now, but it's starting to get of age, and it might be time to get rid of it here, especially since we got new vehicles and we got to start making room for them. So I went on, just took the Blue Book value calculator that was online. I rated it at the lowest that they'll rate it, just because it's a 2005. It does have a few little dings and dents and stuff in it, and I put the mileage on there. And they came up with a private party sales of between $4,049 and $6,146, so actually quite higher than what I thought. So I would, my recommendation would be to start at the low end for the bids, and I went up to 4,100 from the 4,069. So I guess first we would, ask the board to deem it as surplus, and then ask the board to allow us to put it up for bids. And kind of going back, we do have a second truck that we were potentially looking at doing that with. That had some major issues, or we thought were major issues, but the guy that's on staff, he's kind of doing some research on that, and he thinks that the issues might not be as big as what we thought. So we can do two things. We can keep that truck, that's not on this, but that it would be coming up here. We can keep that truck for like maybe till next year till we get another new truck, because we do have a plow and a plow carriage on it and new tires. Or we could also eventually put that up for surplus too, and if we can get it running good, the price on that will be pretty good here too for resale value. But this is the first one that we want to do that with.
I think I would start with 5,000. You can always go down.
I would actually recommend 4,000, because if the bids start coming in and nobody's at your minimum because you started too high, now we have to go through the process again to declare a new minimum bid. If you start at 4, which is below, you'll be more likely to get competitive bidding happening. We don't want to start it so high that people aren't even interested. That's my opinion. 4,000, I would say, is a very reasonable place to start in the current vehicle economy. It's entirely possible we get a high bid double that. We don't know. Because $7,000 for any used vehicle is pretty much the going rate right now. I would say if you started at 4, you get the attention right away, and then if you have some serious interest, then people will be required to think about what it truly is worth to them.
I figured people are looking for vehicles that don't shortchange ourselves, but I remember now it's a process because we have done it twice with our vehicles.
And so how many miles are on it?
That one, I think there was like 111,818.
That's got the inline 5 engine in it.
Yeah. So I plugged in I started at the very lowest Blue Book will allow or will rate, just because that's probably what it is. So I started with that, put the mileage in there, went through all the features, and that's what it came up as.
Lenny?
I move to designate the 2005 Chevrolet Colorado as surplus amount. Staff to put the truck up for bids at a beginning bid of $4,000.
Support. And Lenny, 2 weeks is enough, eh? Put it out there for 2 weeks.
I think so, yeah.
So do it Friday from, well, it's Tuesday today, so what would be a week from this Friday?
Okay.
It's almost like 2 weeks to get it out and then
Right.
get rid of it.
So you want to do a 2 week starting Friday,
Yeah,
like
what do you
tomorrow?
think? Yeah, what do you
We
think?
could put the for sale sign on it tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah,
Put an ad on the Facebook
Deadline
page.
of 2 weeks, is that what
2
you want?
weeks,
website.
yeah. Because if it's a bid, I'll have to open up the bids, so.
Is it required by the purchaser to remove the decals and stuff?
We already got it done out there.
When'd you
Yeah.
do that?
When we took them off of the fire department truck, so we did everything
Oh.
kind of at the same time.
Okay.
So-
Last time I saw it, they were on there still.
Yep, the only thing that is still on there, I think, is the beacon, but,
And the blue stripe, but
yeah.
we don't always take that off.
Oh.
So Lenny, how about July 1st at 4 o'clock? That's a Friday, or 3 o'clock, so, because I know you're here till 4.
Yeah, yeah, that'll work.
So if July 1st at 3 o'clock will be the deadline.
Okay.
So do you want 4,000 or 4,100?
4,000 is in the motion.
The action says he's asking 41.
Yeah, but
Oh,
we
we
changed
changed
it.
it.
I just want to make sure.
Yep,
that
yeah,
I
that's-
missed that.
That's my fault for not having the conversation with Lenny about
Okay,
this
just want to make sure.
specifically. It's
I just wanted to
easier
make
with that
sure
round number.
when I did it, I wanted to stay underneath what it was rating, or over, I should say, over the top of what the minimum was there, so.
Okay.
And this will be advertised as is. That's how we always advertise them when they're declared surplus. So nobody's gonna come to us asking to do something to it before they purchase it. It will be advertised that way.
Good.
Anything else? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, what's the planning commission up to, Miss Linda?
So the planning commission met on Wednesday, June 8th. We were presented under new business with a proposed short-term rental on County Road 550. We tabled, after discussion, we tabled this proposal until we could get some clarification from the attorney on some things. And that, it appears that this particular piece, they're asking to use as a short-term rental, shares a well with another property. So we need to get that all figured out before we do our public hearing. We also are looking at a property maintenance violation at 760 Lake Enchantment Road. It's been ongoing, and our planner department is following up on that. I think it already went to court once. Is that right, Roger?
Yes, you have a judgment ordering the cleanup.
We also looked at scheduling something for the 2023 capital improvement program. We had in our packet the 2022 requests, so we'll be updating those as they come in soon, is what we were told. The Planning Commission also asked if they could get a copy of the township board packets, and so Jim Johnson would be the contact for that. I did send him the packet I received, so he can forward it on to the Planning Commission members. We will not meet tomorrow, which would have been our normally scheduled time. We are not meeting due to not having all the information we need to proceed. So, that was it. Any questions?
So how are we gonna get the packets to them?
We just electronically, as would be my suggestion.
You do that, Randy? Or
I
who does it?
can get Jim on the email train there for that.
And then he can forward it.
Just
Thank
wanna
you.
Make sure what the process is.
Yep.
Any questions for Linda?
Do you want a copy of the Planning Commission agenda and reports, or do you go to the website and get that? Or do you just want a copy of their agenda?
I get the packet, so I don't know what you all get.
Nothing.
I think the report from Linda each time is.
Is that sufficient? Okay. But if you do want, the packets are, I think, posted out there. But if you want it, just let Jason know or let me know, and I'm happy to forward it.
Okay. Rec committee. We got anything? Rec committee met?
I don't think there's been a meeting
No,
in a
didn't
little
meet.
while due to lack of agenda items.
Okay, just wanna make sure.
And a lot of it is really hinging on how this MNRTF grant application goes. That being said, there will be activity at Lions Field sometime later this year once softball season is over, as you all know, based on the agreement that was signed. And we talked about it earlier today. For the public's sake, there will be irrigation installed in the outfield. That is a joint township project with Little League and Superior Fast Pitch and the high school, although I think Superior Fast Pitch is primarily generating all of the activity from their side, that the three user groups kind of spearheading that. The infield dirt will be replaced. There will be a batting cage installed and a new concession stand with public address over above it, so a two-story building, permitted through county building codes with plumbing and electrical, all that. So it'll be a pretty nice facility. I'm still hoping that we get the right field corner raised up too, so it's flatter. Some people still argue that's a home field advantage, but I think if we're going through all this effort, we should make that right. That's what I know for recreation.
Okay. Events.
Oh, wait a minute.
Sorry.
There is more coming in the future regarding trails too. That's about all I need to say for now, but I guess stay tuned. There will be more coming regarding regional trail efforts. We are a critical part of it because a lot of both the north and south trails of NTN's network are in the township. In fact, a lot of the trails that will be raced on this weekend in Marquette Trails Festival are in Marquette Township. So, and NTN has a permit to maintain those trails and hold events on them. So, connectivity is really what the next project is going to be. How do you connect all these systems together? Interesting, fun stuff.
Okay. Events. Car show was packed.
Pardon me?
Car show was packed.
Car show, it was a very good turnout. We had 115 registered, people who registered. We had about 16 who did not register, who was on the other side of the line, and so they just parked all their cars there. So we had about 131 cars there, and you figure each car brought about maybe 2 or 3 people with them. So it really is a nice turnout. I want to say one thing nice, and it's going to hurt because Linda and her sister-in-law did a great job. They both volunteered to help us. And she put all the registration, she's going to put them all in the computer, and we're going to get a printout that way, so that's good. But you did, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Your dad would be proud of me for saying something like that. But, yeah, talked to Super One this morning, coming back from doctor's appointment in Menominee and Marinette, and he was very happy about it, and so he's gonna have a check presentation coming up. So he was, you know, like you say, he was very happy, he's looking forward to another one. Coming up, the next event is our August 9th, what is it? Wait, make sure I get it.
6th.
August 6th. Community Days at the Lions Field. Mark that on your calendar. So that's coming up, and looking forward for that. And Super One will be there to help us out with the brats and the chips and the water and that all day long. We have 3 different bands. We have kids will be playing in the park, and so it'd be a good place to spend the afternoon and evening. Music till 10 o'clock at night. So that's
The
coming up.
bands this year are Diversion, The Reveal, and the Maynards again. The Maynards are coming back from last year. The other 2 will be first time, maybe?
No, the Reveals played before,
Okay.
but I haven't heard the diversion.
Diversion.
No, but Saturday we had a nice turnout, the weather was fine, and so everything went good, except after, the parade didn't work out very well, so we're gonna have to work on that. So, that's it.
Roger have
We need a
car?
proper parade marshal.
You did? Cool. Parade marshal. There you go, Raj.
It needs to be a bigger vehicle with flashing lights and sirens so that the parade knows where to go.
Fire chief? Okay.
And Lynn, I just wanted to say one thing, thank you to Barb Wiegans, who usually gets all this stuff set up. But this year Linda took these and I'll put them on the computer, so that's very nice. And thank you to the Public Works Department, who did a big job in setting it up and tearing it down, getting rid of, we're all out of there by, well, probably about an hour and a half after we had the stuff out of there. So we set up Friday night, went back there Saturday morning, put the rest of the stuff up there, and then did it, so. It's a good time held by everybody, I guess. Talking to an individual there when I was over there, and I kept talking, I said, you should get involved with this and that, and it took a little talking. He ended up, he said, yeah, I think I could be involved with this event on this, so I'll get you that individual's name and contact, so. He was interested in the car show and in the events, so we'll see what happens.
He can just do the car show if he wants to.
Yeah.
You don't have to commit to everything if you have an interest. Great,
I'll
thanks.
get the information to you.
Yeah.
You could climb the grease pole.
One thing that I had heard from a couple different people when I was there was the music was too loud. If we could have Todd maybe tune that down,
He's already told that, so.
he was told that? No.
The loud one is right by the band, I mean, up by the front there, where the cooking is just, he was supposed to, you can turn them down, raise the volume or lower it, and apparently, everyone's, who should have caught it, were doing something else, and they didn't see it. But then towards the end, we told them it's too darn loud, so that can be corrected. I'll make sure I tell again.
Okay. We lost all our public, what little we had. Any announcements for anybody?
I have a couple then.
Okay.
Okay, so today, most everyone that has applied for an application for an absentee ballot should have got something in the mail today looking like this. So if John can,
They did.
yeah.
We did.
Yeah, so anyway, it's a little simple form, it's a fold, so you just fill out this side of the application, and you can fill out, you can get both August and November, or just August or November, so you can apply for both if you want, that's easier for me, I'll have to do another mailing, but that's fine. And then you fill it out, and then all you do is fold it in like this, just fold it over, put 2 pieces of tape and it gets mailed right to me or drop it in the drop box, so.
Can't get much simpler than that.
Yeah. Well, they put a stamp on it to mail it back to us, but it's easier. It's already kind of in a letter format, so that's why I like this form. And so most everyone should have got it today or in the coming days forward, and we will start getting ballots out probably early next week.
That was extremely well done, easy to fill out.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, I had Spectrum printers do this, and I think moving forward, it was just a great, because either myself or Kim don't have the time, because we would have had to do all this manually, 1,248 of them. So that would have been kind of rough. And in the next week or two, you will be getting your new voting card, because I just approved the proof yesterday. So you'll be looking for that in the mail too. And the only thing that's changed on that voting card is now we're in County Commission 3. But I have to mail them because we've changed, so. And we have a big stack of these blank ones in the office, so if anyone would like an absentee application or get on the permanent list moving forward, come to the office and we have lots of these there, so they can fill those out. And July 30th, which is a month away, but we'll be here sooner than you think, is a Saturday. The township office will be open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. to either register the person to vote, receive an absentee ballot, or we can give one out at that time. So we got to be open 8 hours either Saturday or Sunday before the election, which is August 2nd. And I choose to do Saturday from 8 to 4. So that's all I have. I guess if there's any other questions, you can either contact myself or Kim. Kim's doing a great job, so we're gonna get her, start organizing the ballots to go out next week, so.
Any questions or any other announcements?
So Ontario is now double yellowed lines, as is Commerce Drive. Is that the one they just did?
Commerce and Wright Street are restriped
Restripe.
as of last week.
Yep, so pay attention to those stripes and the signage. No more passing on Ontario.
Okay.
There are do not pass signs out there also.
Okay, John, you're up.
Some of this stuff, maybe I was stepping on Lenny's toes putting in my report, but it was fun kind of knocking some of these little nagging issues out in the last couple of weeks, and kudos to Lenny and Andrew from Building and Grounds, DPW. All of them are knocking these projects out and keeping things looking good. The touchless sink fixtures in all our bathrooms are installed. I was joking with Lenny, we're not gonna have to raise our water rates for this Cox Pump House project. We're gonna have to raise them for how much water we're conserving at the township. I think it's actually going to be recognizable by year end how much water we're saving, because you pull your hands away even just to lather the soap and it shuts off. It used to stay on, running. How many gallons a day are you losing? It's pretty impressive. Andrew did a great job on that, and I think it's great to have such skilled staff here. The last thing I wanted to mention regarding infrastructure, we did talk about, and I was interviewed by TV6 about the seeking outside funding. I want to be clear, I understand that if it's not local tax money, but it is state or federal tax money, it's still taxpayer money. We're just trying to get our hands on some of it for a project that we see is necessary for providing safe transportation distribution through, especially right now, the northwest corner of the township. The project that's being proposed follows our transportation master plan. It goes back to prior to my time here at the township, going back to the full analysis of trucking routes in and around the city of Marquette, right? I think everyone remembers that. Should have been here for that. I was not, but I remember reading about it in the news at the time. And we did talk about in my report at the last meeting that the road commission did request that funding. So we'll see what happens. Nothing's guaranteed there either. Without the funding, we may not even have a project to talk about, so we'll see what happens.
Questions for the manager? Andy?
At the meeting today, Jason brought up the fly ash out there. What is the status of that now, that area with the fly ash?
So, well, the landfill itself will remain a landfill, long-term owned by We Energies. The haul road itself is going to be acquired by the road commission. They have an agreement in place that they will be closing on sometime this month if it hasn't happened already. So that will become part of the public road network, and it will be a Class A road. So part of this whole master plan is to make a Class A road as an alternate bypass around the city in the event Wright Street's not available. It's not the most efficient route, so it'd be very unlikely that trucks would use it regularly. It would be more of the local logging type traffic that would use it if there is going to be truck traffic on it. So all depending on when the forestry activity occurs close enough to that route to use it.
If we were getting X number of dollars on that fly ash out there, that would be no longer available because they're not putting any more fly ash there.
Yeah, that landfill is capped.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else for John? Randy?
Okay, review of the motions as consent agenda was approved with no changes. Regular agenda was approved with no changes. The third motion was to approve the DWRF resolution, and that was approved 7-0. Fourth motion was to approve the library millage resolution in ballot language. That was approved 5-2. The fifth motion was to approve the considered a letter to the legislators opposing sand and gravel mining Senate bills, and that was approved 7-0. And the sixth motion was to approve the 2005 Chevy Colorado surplus for a minimum bid of $4,000, and the date for the due of the bids was 7/1/22 at 3 p.m. That's it.
Okay, thanks. I told you to probably put that in the agenda, on the agenda next time, so we can use that too as documentation for the grant itself. And I will look into putting it on the back of the calendar for our bills coming up. We've got another week on that. And then,
You may want to consider my annual evaluation soon too. I think Clerk Rattari was mentioning that earlier.
Yeah, I'll get that out to you by the 1st of July. You have the full month of July to fill it out, which it won't take very long. And then get that back to me by July 31st. 31st, and then we will meet, me and the supervisor, I score them, put it together, and then me and the supervisor usually sit down with the manager and go over the evaluation, and then I report to the board probably either the first or second meeting in August. We have to, by contract, it's due by September 1, but I like to get it done early, so we have it done.
in case we have issues, hey.
The anniversary date has already passed too, so any time is fine by me. Any constructive criticisms you have, I'm always welcome to hear. I know I'm not perfect, so if there's areas where I can improve for you, I'll certainly try to do that.
So I'll be putting that in your mailbox and sending it electronically in the next probably week. And if we get it done early, we get it done early. That's even better.
Next agenda, I'll also have something in there from some of Travel Marquette and LSCP, and a bunch of folks have put together a flyer. Respect Marquette and Leave No Trace have kind of joined. Respect Marquette is the new kind of company or organization, and Leave No Trace has been around, and basically encouraging people to pay attention on the trails, don't leave your trash, don't let your dog run wild. You know, and respect the lake shore and the trees, don't hang your hammocks on trees, it kills them. You know, different things that people don't think about, whether they're here, living here, or if they're tourists. They're gonna really just push it, so, I told her they approved that today, I think it was. I told her it was too late for this agenda, so I'll include that next time too. What else, any comments?
So I have two things. On July 20th, Pete and I will be having the township gathering room open from 1 to 3 p.m. for our senior gathering. We've had some interest out there again, so we'll start again on Wednesday, July 20th from 1 to 3. Bring your cards, bring your cribbage board, bring your knitting, bring whatever you want. Conversation, we had great conversation the first time we met in January about the history of a house in Marquette Township. So come and join us, and we'll move on from there. The other thing is 1 to 3. I'll ask if we can put it on the back of the water bill. If you have a dog and you're in Marquette Township, that dog is to be under your control. So those of you that love climbing Sugarloaf, that dog is to be under your control. It's not to be running. We had a huge incident last year all over Facebook. People were afraid. There were young children. Let's not have that happen again. Leash your dog. Have it under your control.
Okay, what other?
I have a couple in that. First, I've talked to John on a couple things that came to my mind in that. Solar power for looking for the township and that, and talking to John. That's long-term, just keeping track of what's going on and that, and see if at some point in time it becomes feasible for the township to look at solar power on our buildings and see if it's worthwhile and that. I talked to Jason a little bit about building for density in the township and that. That goes back to the planning commission to see what we can do there, and that at the same time, when you look at affordable housing and that, so what can be done at that point in time. So that's something I'm looking for, just people to think about more than anything as to where we're going and that, make it available and that. The other thing is, we've talked about that land for that land swamp, for the road. And I got thinking now, if that doesn't come to pass, can we utilize that land somehow for low-income housing and that at some time in the future and that? So that's off the back burner over here. If that doesn't happen, can we kind of look at that and see what's gonna happen? Who knows? We may be able to utilize that, so I don't know in that. But it's a possibility in that.
It's a good point. Let's keep in mind that commercial property is currently fetching about $100,000 an acre. That's not necessarily gonna calculate to affordable. So if you are looking at that as a serious alternative, you almost have to take the value of the land out of the equation. And in that case, is the land swap a better deal? Just throwing that out there.
John?
As long as we're talking about other kind of housing, I noted in the Mining Journal, to my surprise, that the Marquette commissioners, in discussion about the need for providing low-caste housing, made the comment that they thought that if it was going to happen, it will likely have to happen in the county because they didn't have any room there. I think any member of this board that doesn't know who they're talking about when they say in the county needs to take a review.
Well, there's a lot of that going on in West End though, too, you know, so this isn't just us. Okay, you had one more?
One more, and this is my last one on that. Within a week or two, you'll be getting your property tax bills.
Oh, I'm sorry I said anything.
Again?
Again. You didn't pay me enough last time, so we have to send it out again, see?
Jesus. Ernie?
I think I'm gonna go home depressed.
Thanks, Ernie.
And it's
I
tomorrow will
get to
be
do this twice a year.
tomorrow will be a shorter day now.
Yeah.
Tax bills.
Look at it, with a smile on his face.
Yeah, I
I
need
don't
the money.
stay in bed.
Can I get mine tonight? I'd like to get it mine right away.
You wanna hurry up and pay it early?
Right. Will you
What
pay,
else?
if I get it, will you pay it tomorrow? Yep. I'm just kidding.
Dan?
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay,
Support.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You've been just waiting. haven't you?
We are adjourned at 8:11.